Today we're going to discuss the new Starfield direct gameplay trailer, but we are going to review it from a different standpoint. I am going to look at all the UI, the HUD, the different game mechanics based on what they've showed us through the different menus on the screen. The very first thing we see in the beginning of the trailer is the compass/watch on the HUD. You have a health bar on the bottom right, similar to Fallout, but the bottom left is all new with this compass, HUD, and definitely a clock. It shows you what planet you're on and what the time cycle is with the shade of the planet. And you also have an O2 and CO2 meter, and it seems like the CO2 is your stamina bar, from what I can tell. You also have different icons on the compass showing you different points of interest nearby. And we can also see coming up when they jump around to different biomes and planets that there are warning icons on your watch. From what I could tell, there's a radiation icon, a temperature icon, and a few others that are unknown at this time. Possibly a gravity icon, and it seems like different hazards will be shown on this watch. We can see when we hop into combat, the watch also shows red dots for enemy locations, directionally based. Also, you see your gun underneath your health with ammo and how much ammo you have left, and also grenades. Very clean HUD so far, I'm liking it. And then we get the first look at looting. We'll take a look at that again later on, but you can see it's a very simple looting menu, almost like Fallout 4, but sleeker. You can see that there are loose items in the world, and later in the video, you could see that you can place items in the world, just like we could do in every Bethesda game since Morrowind to Oblivion. You can make piles of stacked items and collections in the game, placing things on tables. And then we get a look at the menu screen. It shows you what planet you're on, how much percentage of the planet you surveyed and explored, the local time. It tells you what ship you have on the bottom left, your hull integrity, the class of your ship, the jump range of your ship, it looks like 20 light years, how many crew you have, your level, your health. It looks like a skill that you're working on because it shows lasers in the top right, and then your weapon in the bottom right. And then on the bottom, it looks like your missions. The inventory, it was a very brief glimpse of it, looks very clean. It shows you the damage of the weapons in the weapons section. And then on the right, it gets into, for example, the type of weapon, if it's energy, ballistics, the fire rate, the range, the mass of the weapon. Maybe that's kind of like ergonomics. And the handling speed, maybe the mass plays into. Mass also looks like on the bottom left where the credits are, could be a general weight system. You can only hold so much mass in your backpack. They're also bringing back awesome three-dimensional items that are beautifully rendered in the inventory, and the foods look amazing. And at the 5-minute mark in the trailer, we start to see some of the exploration and the star map. We see varied gravities, biomes, and resources, and when you scan the planet from space, you get a very good view of all this. Atmosphere, thin CO2, temperature, cold, stuff like that. The fauna, the flora, the water. It even tells you if the water is radioactive. Also, it shows resources 0 out of 8 for this planet of Parima. Does that mean that you haven't discovered any of those yet? 0 out of 8? Who knows? And it seems like they did a No Man's Sky kind of level of detail with the resources. What I mean by that is there's thousands of planets in the game, and the resources might look unique on each planet possibly, but it all breaks down into the same chemical components. H2O, iron, etc., etc. There is also 2 question marks for traits for the planet. Very interesting. I'm not quite sure what that means. You could set waypoints onto the planet and fly down to that waypoint, or go to points of interest. And now they're showing kind of like a systems map of the different planets, moons, and star within the system you're looking at in the galaxy. Now it's important to understand, we'll talk more about exploration later, but as you survey planets, you get bonuses for that planet. You survey all the animals and plants on the planet, and maybe that planet will be better to build an outpost on, or you'll get bonuses towards that outpost for certain things. Maybe the planet has a lot of animals that you could harvest from, or plants, vice versa. And this goes macro and microcosmic. As you zoom out, you get a great scale of the galaxy, every little system that you can explore with different various things. Now it's showing that your ship has a jump limit, a range, you have fuel, you have a cargo hold. Yes, this game has everything that you could imagine in a space game. From cargo hauling to smuggling to bounty hunting, space combat, mining, the list goes on and on. And at the 6-minute 30-second mark, we get a good look at the space controls. We'll talk more in detail later, but for now you can kind of see a 3-button combat system with laser, ballistic, and missile. Also your thruster system, your speed and boost. Very simple, very clean. I'm liking it. For a game that's going to be mainly on consoles with coming out on PC also, you have to gear towards the console player with simplified controls. And that's the basics of it so far. But now let's get into some things that people have missed. At the 12-minute mark and roughly 26 seconds, you see on the top right, on the system map for this system of Sol, it says Faction United Colonies. Seems to be the main protagonists of the game. But underneath that it says Bounty 600, I think it says. Now that bounty, in my opinion, is the bounty on your head. Maybe on this playthrough for the demonstration, this guy was a space pirate or a criminal. But that says Bounty 600. I think their character has a wanted level. Very interesting. They didn't really touch on that, but I think it shows that at that part of the trailer. And then we get into the character creation. Very cleverly, they show you waking up from kind of like a concussion or being blown up or something. I don't want to get too much in the story, but it seems like you interacted with an alien artifact and was passed out, essentially. And the character creation is very sleek, very simple, but as you can see, very detailed. And you can make pretty much any looking ethnicity or character in the game with some pretty funny looking characters. You could be heavyset, thin, muscular, different walking styles, different body types. All very basic for Bethesda games. They seem to have modified it. And then you have the background system, where you pick a background for your character that seems to affect the story in little ways. Maybe you're a master beast hunter, and you could do a good mission better than the other average Joe. Or there's an explorer or a diplomat. And this kind of gives you your starting skills, 3 of them for each background. There's bouncer, there's bounty hunter, chef, combat medic, cyber runner, cyberneticist, diplomat, explorer, gangster, homesteader, industrialist, long hauler, pilgrim, Professor Ronin. And this kind of will give you your starting attributes. Definitely earlier in the story and game, this will be helpful, but I'm sure you can upgrade other skills later on. Now they talked about that you can get rid of traits, get rid of these background skills, one of them being adoring fan. This trait seems that you have a fan following you around. but they kind of insinuate to get rid of this to kill the adoring fan. Now I wonder if this would pertain to other traits and you have to kind of do story-esque things to get rid of them. One trait gave you combat boosts and buffs at the expense of mercenaries hunting you down and finding you and fighting you. Maybe to get rid of that trait you get captured. Maybe there's a whole storyline. I don't know. I'm kind of speculating there. The skill system is pretty cool. I kind of like it. It's like a challenge-based skills. So every time you level up, you get a skill point to open up a skill in 5 different categories, it seems like. There is physical skills, social skills, combat skills, science, and technology skills. So 5 total branches and trees. And then after you pick a skill, in order to rank up that skill, you have to do challenges. They showed security, basically lockpicking, and to unlock rank 2, from rank 1 you have to pick 5 locks. And then rank 2 is unlocked. And then maybe you have to pick 15 locks, and so on and so forth. And as you unlock these challenges, you get stronger through the skills. This is a natural gameplay evolution from way back in old Bethesda games like Morrowind, where the more you used a skill, the more it went up. This is kind of the same idea, but a more detailed and well-described system, where you have a set number of challenges to do before you rank up. This game definitely has a whole new movement system, where this is the first Bethesda game where you can get off the ground, more than just a bunny hop. This hasn't been done since Morrowind with the levitation skill and the mega jumping skills where you could jump across the whole map. So I'm very interested to see how they do this. There's definitely going to be 0G levels. They said that weapons and gunplay affect yourself in 0G, where ballistics guns will shoot you backwards, laser guns will not. And you have a jetpack, a boost pack, where you can fly around, boost over enemies, rain down destruction upon them. I'm very interested in this. And then we get to the 20-minute mark in the trailer where it's all about the ships. The ships are incredible, and I'm very excited about this in the game. You have mega customization with a whole bunch of in-game companies that have different flavors and visualized details for each manufacturer and ship. You can buy ships, you can sell ships, you can commandeer ships, you can board enemy ships and take them over and then sell them, maybe take parts from them to use for other ships. It is very detailed. You could hire crew members to help run the ships better. And some details we have of the customization I will go over now. There are a whole bunch of different parts that you could equip on the ship. You have the main hab, and onto that goes engines, weapons, the cockpit. You have your boarding array, landing gears, the bay that you board with, cargo holds, dockers, fuel tanks, grav drives, shield generators, and something called cowling, which seems to change the shape of your ship and make it sleeker or different shapes. And all these get combined to form your ship. You can go as advanced as you want. They showcase people building very funny looking mechs almost. Not working mechs with moving arms or legs, but flying stationary mechs, they said. Very funny. You can make giant boxes and cube ships or whatever you want, really. It's really interesting. The parts snap together. You could change the coloring on it, and everything is stat based. On the bottom you kind of see the stats, and then you get more detailed stats for each part. But you have laser, ballistic missile, hull, which is probably the strength, your shield strength, your cargo hold, how many max crew you can have, your jump range, the mobility of the ship, top speed, and then mass. Again, mass probably is the weight, but also it could equal other things like the ergonomics of the ship, Definitely the more mass, the slower speed maybe. And then it looks like there's different manufacturers, like I was saying. On this one screen it has Nova Galactic, definitely one of the manufacturers and part makers, and I'm sure there's a bunch more. You could turn your ships into mobile production centers, places to store your guns, on display, a place to live when you're out in the verse. We're stealing that one from Star Citizen. The verse. And I think the ships look really interesting, really cool. I like the effects on them, the steam that comes off, the smoke. And now we are going to see the combat in space. Very interesting. I think it's very simplified. If you play the space game, you kind of understand the mechanics of it. And everything seems to be a play around the energy system, where you're going to be diverting energy from the engine into the shields and gravity, into the missiles and ballistics and lasers to get more attack power or more defense. I'm not quite sure what the gravity would do. If that just takes away the gravity inside your ship, that's quite possible, because enemies can also board your ship. And it seems like in a lot of these different instances of combat, everyone sacrifices the gravity and puts it into the other various systems, either engine, shield, or the weapons. All your skills and traits play into this, where one skill they showed, you can get better at targeting the different various systems of the enemy ship to kind of knock out its engines or knock out its shields. And then eventually this all leads to outposts. Finding a suitable planet to kind of put your little mini base on. And you could probably build many outposts, many settlements, kind of like Fallout 4. And this is really interesting. Your outposts also have stats. They're used for resource gathering and mining. There's also a bird's eye view of building. You could build in first person like Fallout 4, or you can kind of zoom the camera out and get a much better view when you're placing these habs and the walls and the different components. Very cool. I kind of like this a lot. I was always a fan of the settlement building in Fallout 4, and this will definitely be awesome in this game. Building different outposts on different planets, hiring people to work there. And the decoration and the unique customization of each of these things, including your ship, is way into the Bethesda universe. It is super cool. Like, look at these hanging plants and couches and a little lounge. They really went above and beyond in this customization to make your game unique from your friends and other people playing. And really, with these situations, it's all up to your imagination on how detailed you want to get with the settlement building. Combat looks really snappy in this game. I would compare it to any first-person shooter on the market. And the melee combat looks pretty cool. I like that they brought melee combat into it. Definitely adds a whole bunch of unique weapons probably. And any gun you can imagine has a form in this game. From shotguns to pistols to SMGs to sniper rifles to laser weapons of all various shapes and sizes. There's also environmental hazards. You could shoot canisters, stuff like that. And then you have the gun customization, where you could add scopes and barrels and extended magazines and different things to customize each gun even further. And then at the 38-minute mark of the trailer, we get our first look at the research laboratory. This might be an in-game technology tree that you have to bring resources to in order to unlock various aspects of the game. You have a couple categories that they're showing. There could be more. There's pharmacology, food and drink, outpost development, equipment, and weaponry. Maybe you can research new guns, new armors, new outpost items and habitats, food and drink, and pharmacy things. And this is really interesting. They didn't really show too much of this, but they showed unlocking a weapon barrel, and I think that'll be the main reason to explore the world and get resources to bring back research and keep unlocking more and more items. Very interesting. And then the final thing I realized and I saw from the trailers that other people might not have noticed or discussed too often, as there is a photo mode. At the 42-minute mark, they brag about the photo mode. You could take awesome pictures with cool filters, cool angles, and I think people are going to really use this up after building a really cool settlement or a spaceship or exploring. People are going to use the photo mode and take pictures. I thought that was cool. I like photo modes in video games. It helps with content creation and story building. And from what I've seen, this is definitely a game that I'm interested in. They definitely knocked it out of the ballpark. This is Bethesda all the way. It's definitely a Bethesda game with the customization, the settlement building, now it's ship customization. And I'm interested to hear what you guys are going to do. What kind of ship do you want to make? A cargo ship, a smuggling ship, an all-around good ship? Are you going to focus on the settlement building? Are you just going to do the main story and do all the building at the end? I think the settlements and the outpost will definitely give you buffs and boosts to your campaign, to your story, and to your character's skills and stats, and probably weapons. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. This game I am looking forward to. It comes out in September of 2023. Not very far away. 3 months. It's amazing. But hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe for more great gaming content. If you want to help the channel out, we have a Patreon. But the best thing you could do for free is just like the video and comment down below. Say hi if you don't have nothing else to say. It helps out the algorithms and boosts the channel. Thank you for watching. And I want to thank my supporters right now in the ending credits. You guys are awesome. And thank you all for just hanging out.